I'm checking out the Tascam Model 2400. So the Tascam has inserts for all the channels, has combo jacks, so you can input an XLR or TS or TRS jack. You can select whether you hear what comes from the input or what comes from USB. It's also a USB interface, or what comes from the multi-track recording. This can directly record everything. And then what's new in this compared to Model 24, for example, is that you have an expanded section here with a bypass switch. So when you use a compressor or EQ, you can quickly bypass the settings and hear it in a neutral way. And you also have 5 auxiliary ways, which are good to make monitor mixes. For example, if you are performing with a band, these are mostly pre-fader. That means if you adjust the aux sense, this is giving different musicians different monitor mixes which are independent from each other. That means if you turn down these faders, the mix won't be affected because the send is pre-fader. At least for the first 3, and then for the next you can also use them differently, like for example for the effects. And let's come to an example. I am sending this sound to an effect, to this effect section via aux. And I have additional parameters here for the mixer. I'm just using a plate, but I can also go to a reverb and make it 10 seconds long. And I have additional parameters like diffusion, which are not accessible in the other Tascam Model mixers. And now I can send the signal also from the effect back to another aux channel. So on aux channel 4 I connected Echo Cinematic. And Echo Cinematic is made by Jason Mario from Knobula, whose work I really like because he tries to bring musical things into the modular world. That means, for example, he allows me to play chords with the Polycinematic module or with the chord pilot, and he allows me to do things that dub musicians do with the Echo Cinematic. So what dub musicians often do is that if you have a reverb or a delay in the mixer, you tweak them with the EQ. So if it's here, you can tweak those effects with an EQ. And well, now my setting is a bit improvised. I'm just sending a mono signal from the stereo reverb into the Echo Cinematic, showing what the 2400 can do, but I can also turn down those sends and send my signal directly in there. And we can see that there's a reverb in here too, and I can turn down the reverb and just use my delay and shorten it a bit and add a bit reverb again. What this allows me to do is a bit like what I can do on the mixer. I can tweak the EQ settings, and now I'm using a comp filter, but I can also choose shelving filters. I have resonance here, gain or cut of intensity here, and the frequency here. So it's like a parametric EQ, while whereas I'm just using simple ones. I could, of course, return the effect to another channel where I have sweepable mids. But I don't have things like this in a usual FX return channel. This is quite more than what you find usually because this has accents already. But of course, it's even more comfortable to send the effects back to a normal channel and then use this. And it also has a feedback. And I could also use this differently. For example, I could send the signal to the reverb and then back again. This makes it a bit more interesting. And I can also send the signal to itself, which is a bit dangerous. So send the signal from the returning delay back again to the internal FX, and then from there back again, returning there. So I'm getting feedback. Or I could also use it differently and just send it through aux4 to my delay and from there to the reverb. That's nice about the Knobula, and what's nice about the Tascam is, of course, I can record everything. I can hit those buttons and then hit those buttons and then just exit this screen and say new. I want a new session, and then I press record and I will record all these tracks. And I can also record the master track. So what the Tascam 2400 can do is be the heart of a setup, a workhorse. It can record, it can be audio interface. It also has an internal master bus. Yeah, there are lots of things to do with this. I can record, I can use it as an audio interface, and if the signal comes back from the computer, I just turn on USB here and I can hear the signal and record it again with the same computer. Or I can also tell the computer, don't send signal 23 and 24 here, please only send the master to channel 1 and 2 if I want to use it with software like OBS. What's a bit uncommon is the monitoring section, because when you monitor, like for example, when I monitor on my old Mackie desk, I have those solo buttons, and those solo buttons usually show me some kind of solo in place. That means I hear the signal as is in the mix, while as in the Tascam, I'm working more like with a DJ mixer. I'm now shutting down the master, and you can hear only the control room. So this is the control room, and the control room will always play the master like in a PFL mode. So when you turn it up or down. It doesn't have a difference. It's a bit unusual, as said. You can't see what's in here, but you gotta know. If you turn on AFL for an aux channel, that means what's sent via this aux channel can be heard here, regardless of the faders, because it's pre-fader here, but it's after fader here. So you can switch between different settings. So like you hear the master and you hear an instrument solo, but you gotta be a bit careful. For example, if you turn on the pre-fader listening here and you want to listen to the sound, so it may happen to you that the faders are down somewhere and you hear a mix, but when you want to hear the signal solo, then this gets very loud because it has a different setting then. So you gotta take care of the control room master then in order to get this proper. And additionally, you have a talkback here, and you have a click that you can also send to the monitors, of course. You don't have to route this, but the talkback has to be routed to the mains or to the aux sends. So that's briefly a short summary of what you can do with the Tascam 2400 and also with the Knobula Echo Cinematic. I hope you enjoyed this little sound report.